I guess we have Shannon Sharp to thank for that.
Wait, why?
Because he recorded an interview. Sorry, he recorded an interview with some guy on Zoom, and the guy didn't know he was being recorded, and he was like bad talking his team or something. So it became a huge thing when it went live because Shannon Sharp didn't tell the guy that he was recording him. So since then, Zoom has, I guess, put that notification.
Wow.
I'm surprised you didn't know about that, Chris. I figured Ramon and John would be clueless, but you would, because, like, yeah, I thought you would know because of NFL.
I legitimately didn't. Wow, yeah, I'm surprised I didn't hear about that actually.
Anyway, that's a little off topic. Welcome back, everyone, to Bonding Time. I'm Hutchinson, David Hutchinson, and these are my co-hosts. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Patrick. Ramon Patrick.
Greenwich. Christopher Greenwich.
You know what? That's karma right there. You're not going along with the rest of us. It was muted.
Yes.
Not a team player.
We'll get him to say it sometime or the other.
You're not. What, is he muted?
Yeah.
Oh. That's
Technical difficulties. See, if you said your name was Chu, Jonathan Chu, you wouldn't have technical difficulties.
Exactly.
Did you say your mom?
Y'all hear me now?
Ah, yes. Okay, yeah, I can hear you now. Right, but John, you didn't introduce yourself still. Yeah. No, I can hear you. All right. It's the quality of the video. Is it just me or is the voice quality on John bad?
I seconded. Yeah. I'm not hearing you that well, John.
Yeah, you sound like an Android.
Better now?
Yes. Yeah, that's much better.
Well, my headphones might be fucked. As we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
That's Apple for you. Moving on.
I'm just gonna let this roll. This is good. This is good material. We can leave this in.
Hey guys, behind the scenes bloopers.
Just carry on, guys.
This was the shiniest Bond I've ever seen.
Okay. Welcome back. So tonight we are talking about Die Another Day, Pierce Brosnan's last Bond movie, and the 20th movie in the franchise. So it was kind of a big deal when it came out. Die Another Day, 2002, CGI Fest. Chris, let's start with you. What did general thoughts and what did you think about the intro?
Yeah, I'll say my general thoughts into the end. But the intro I thought was not bad. It was, it was definitely interesting. It had good action. With the hovercraft chase. That was, a vehicle we've never seen in a Bond before. It was a little random. I don't really understand why they would have hovercrafts in that area, wherever they were, North Korea.
Because in the minefields.
Yeah. This went,
yeah. So it went over the minefield. So that part I actually thought made sense. Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. That was a nice way for them to get in a vehicle we've never seen before. Very well done. So I like the opening scene. I thought it had good action, and then Bond gets captured, which is like, what? Like really captured, not like captured for like a couple hours. Like, he's captured and he doesn't get released for like the next year or more. And I love the theme song of the opening. Absolutely loved Madonna, Die Another Day.
Like, you love that song?
I love that song as well.
I wish John wasn't muted because I feel like John's reaction to you loving that song I mean,
Nope, I actually like the song too.
what?
Like it's a really good Bond song as well. I think it fits.
Like,
It's a catchy song, but it is not a Bond song to me.
That's the problem. It's catchy, and it's like, so we're talking about it. I can literally hear the lyrics in my head, and it's just one line, "Die another day." That's literally all she says. But
No, doesn't she say something that
The rest of the
we
song
looked
doesn't
at-
matter, Dave. It is that line.
There's like some other lyric in it.
Sigmund
There's some other lyrics, but this was that one Bond song where it's not defined by the orchestra, it's defined by the line and how catchy it is.
I'll tell you
Alright.
the lyrics she says Sigmund Freud analyzed.
Yes, Sigmund Freud analyzed this. What is that? Oh my gosh. John looked that up when we were watching this
He
time.
did. He did.
I was very much like I knew the song, but I don't actually know what the lyrics is because the song isn't like. I mean, I don't think if this song was connected to the movie, I would ever have paid attention to this song. But the
Yeah.
fact that the song was like part of this movie, it's just like, and I could just imagine like the ticks that's in it and stuff. It's just a weird song, and it gets stuck in your head, so it works. You know what? This is like a fucking Taylor Swift song that just gets stuck in your head, and you're just like, holy crap! And then like 3 weeks later, you're humming it to yourself, and like, you know what? I don't hate it.
Right. Like, well, for me, like it kind of just got me like pumped. Like, you know, it just got me like pumped, and ready for the movie. I was like, yo, this is like
Right, and they did that introductions that melded seamlessly. Like
Yeah.
he
Yes.
got dumped to the water and then it went seamlessly into the opening. It was on point.
that is very true. I agree with you. And you know, seeing Bond get tortured in the background, I was like, damn, that's actually, I mean, something we've never really seen before, like him getting tortured for a prolonged period like that. Like, damn. So overall, I would give the opening. I thought it was a good opening. I liked it.
What about you, John?
I really like the openings of this movie. I thought so. The hovercraft thing, I was like, wow, they're really just like running out of vehicles. But I like hovercrafts.
I know, right?
I like hovercrafts, and I think that the hovercrafts that they used as well were kind of like they weren't just
They're
like,
believable. They're believable. So
Yeah,
these are heavy duty ones.
they were cool. We've had like them being in a swamp in America using those hovercrafts, but these ones were like cool and so my only qualm with the hovercraft thing is that like they look too technologically advanced to be in North Korea. That was my biggest thing. I'm like, if it's North Korea, they should have some stuff like put together with tape and like. But the opening itself was really good. The action was good. What I say is it was entertaining. The action was entertaining. The song, like I said, I enjoyed the song. I know it's not a good song, but it's still like it's iconic. Like it's definitely a song that like I remember, I enjoy. It's again the only thing like side note is that Madonna pops up later in the movie, and I'm like, there's no reason for Madonna to be in this movie. Like what?
Really?
I saw she fit.
Yeah.
Like as the extra that she was in it, I thought it fit.
She was the girls' trainer.
Yeah. Why put an extra when you can put Madonna in there?
Exactly, right? Why put an extra when you can put Madonna in it? So I mean, like that was cool. The opening credits, I loved what they did with the opening credits because it had relevance. It was like it walked us through it, like got us to a point. And for that reason, I loved the opening. Like that was a thing that I wish that they had done more of in the future, because that was like it's not just an opening for the sake of like, ooh, interesting visuals, but it's like it actually progresses the story. It has a part to play. It ties in everything. I loved it. I thought the opening was excellent.
I'm gonna second that. That opening was not one where you saw it coming in. All right, let me go get popcorn or
Right,
step
right.
out and say like you followed it straight through. I thought the song it fit. It really did fit this Bond.
Right.
It is not the best song, definitely for sure, but I think this opening was the best done for me so far.
Right.
Like I loved it. Saw Bond getting tortured. They drew it over a period of time. It was on point. and the opening, it was relevant to the entire story. Yeah, I think this was one of the better opening themes, like the best opening theme in terms of conceptually done.
Right.
And the opening was decent. It was really decent. Like I actually enjoyed it.
So I would say opening scene. I agree with you, Ramon. It was decent. Action was decent. Hovercraft wasn't like a terrible. It was
It was
good action for me. For me, it wasn't like super memorable, but it was good.
Right.
I the song is catchy, but for me, it's not a James Bond song. I'm not gonna go listen to James Bond music and listen to Die Another Day. For me, it's I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Here's the problem. You're not gonna listen to it on purpose. But when you hear it,
I guess. But I will agree with you guys. The visuals they use, yes, it kind of progressed the story. I would argue it didn't really progress the story because the story just fell apart. And I feel like they had so much potential at the beginning of the movie, like the way it's set up. But the time the opening credits thing is like, oh, he's captured, he's getting tortured, sets up so much potential for a really cool story and movie. And it all just, it's like, what was even the point of him being captured? The whole, him being captured does nothing for the story except he knows who Gustav Graves really is. Like he met him in North Korea. That's literally it. It doesn't, for me, it didn't end up adding anything to the story. But I do wish they did that opening sequence like that again. Because I think this is like the only time they've done it. They actually did like a montage in the opening credits, which they've never done before. So
Right.
that was
So
cool.
I get where you're coming from about like it fell apart, but up to that point, it hadn't fallen apart yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
so
set up, it was a good opening, I will say.
it was a good
It set
opening.
things up.
Yeah.
So, one of the things in the opening is you meet the villain, but later on he is known by the name Gustav Graves. So,
So,
guys, what did you think of the villain?
so we're just gonna straight up like spoiler alert, just like not even
I
like
mean, this is
Alright,
a
we didn't
review.
watch the movie. Oops.
I'm pretty sure all of our conversations have spoiled everything in every movie we've talked about.
no, it's just like
If you haven't seen the movie by now, like, you've been watching that movie clearly. It's 20 years old. Christ.
it's just funny because to me, I had a serious love-hate relationship with the villain. Simply because it felt so dumb when you got to a certain point. When you like realize what was going on, you're like, oh, this is stupid. you know? There's like a big reveal, and then you're like, really? I don't like when they like change faces. I don't like when it's like you think it's one person and then it's all of a sudden another person and
That's because you've never seen Face Off.
right. What a very good point. Maybe I just have something against like changing faces the same way that I hate time travel. You know what? The day that they bring
Yeah, not a fan.
the day that they do time travel for James Bond, I think I'll stop watching. Like I hate time travel. I
Well, don't
hate
watch Tenet because Tenet is apparently James Bond with
Oh
time
my
travel.
god. I just recently watched that. I'm not watching that again. Jesus, that movie was ridiculous. I'm
You know
sorry.
what, guys? I love y'all for telling me that because I have Tenet on my movies to watch list, right? And I'm gonna take it right the fuck off.
Yeah,
It's not
don't
bad.
don't
It's
don't
not
watch
bad.
it.
It's just it's too fucking confusing. It's
Exactly. So I feel like if people treat time travel and changing faces and parallel universe as a excuse to do whatever they want, to be like, oh, but it's fine because they changed his face because this is where we are with plastic surgery, and I'm like, suck a dick, like just like shut up, you're an idiot, like no, this is dumb. I kind of like the bad guy. I liked Gustav because he was a little bit like all over the place. He's very eccentric, charismatic. That sword scene where they're like they're what's the word? Parrying? Where they're
Um,
fencing.
Fencing,
And
yeah.
they go from, like small swords to bigger swords to bigger swords. Like I love that scene, right? And I thought that he like really brought it, and it kind of showed how like unhinged he was. I really enjoyed that. I really wish that they didn't do the changing of faces things. I wish they didn't use the plastic surgery route. Even the guy with the diamonds in his face,
oh,
Zhao.
God. Why would he keep the diamonds in his face?
Well, I didn't. What they're trying to do is that like he couldn't get them out, so they had to stick there. Like
I feel like he could have gotten them out. Like, why would you? Why? How could he? You know?
you can change whole faces, but you can't get some diamonds out of the face. Really?
I mean, let's be honest. Now people are putting diamonds in their people were putting diamonds in their face before. Like it's if he didn't, it was neither here or there to me. Like he wanted something just a little cooler or
Exactly. It was
whatever.
just to make him look cooler. And but again, that pissed me off because it's like, okay, so you can take off a whole person's face, but you can't get some diamonds out of it. Just like
I think they only
Well,
did that because it's a Bond trope at this point.
Yeah.
right.
Bond is known for having villains with deformities.
But it just
Right.
didn't make any sense to me. Like, why?
But again, in my opinion, again, like he's the muscle or he's portrayed as muscle.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
want to look like muscle,
And he did look cool.
Yeah.
And he did look cool. It's just the face off thing. I was just like shame. It's just yeah. But that being said, I did think Gustav Graves was an entertaining bad guy. I mean, Moon was the bad guy. It was a little bit of a again, um I can't remember how I reacted to it when I first watched it, but it was like that was the twist. And knowing that it was coming, I was kind of like waiting for it, waiting for it, waiting for it. And when it happened, I was like,
I don't know. I feel like that twist is kind of like when Mr. Big turns out to be Kananga. Was it Kananga? I think it was Kananga. Yeah, in Live and Let Die, where it's like it's so obvious. It's not even a twist. It's just kind of dumb, and I feel
right,
like that's the same. I mean, at the beginning, yes, it's not obvious. You're like, who's Gustav Graves? But then by the
yeah,
time you get to the Ice Palace, you know what's up. It's so when they reveal it, it's
it's
no
true.
surprise at all.
But that's the thing. It's a failed reveal. You know, it's like a reveal that has no impact. And that's kind of like this movie. It was like it was very flashy, and like you had potential there, didn't work out. What do you think, Ramon?
um, I actually like the bad guy a lot. This one definitely he played the part well. He seemed, as you were saying, he seemed unhinged. Um, I believed his plan for global conquest. Like he's someone with something to prove. I will disagree with you guys on the reveal being too obvious. The truth is, it wasn't meant to be a big reveal. It was. It's not to say like when that I can't remember his name. He double crossed Bond, and we were like, oh wait, he's the main bad guy. This was more along the lines of, oh, we know who this main bad guy is. The fact that he is General Moon, it's neither here or there. His plans still the same. Like he's never leveraged anything against Bond based on who he was. It was just, oh, okay, this is somebody we met in the beginning. So it wasn't a reveal. It was just a plot point, and it wasn't that big. But that to say, I did love the henchman. Um, Again, well portrayed villain in my opinion. I believed how evil he was, and actually wanted him to go down.
What about you, Chris?
So I'll take that.
Um, villain wise, I mean I like Zhao in the beginning. You know, I thought it was a really good introduction for him. He kind of seemed really unhinged, type of unhinged character in the in the opening scene, fighting Bond and everything. And then Gustav. Um, I don't know how I really felt about him. I wasn't like, I just, he wasn't very memorable. I don't know why. He just seemed like kind of like just a normal villain, just rich man villain. Like, wasn't anything special to him to me.
Right.
And then when I found out his plan, when he found, well, I guess when he found out it was Zhao, I actually didn't see that twist coming. I think I have to agree with Mon. I don't think it was that obvious. So I didn't actually see that twist coming. I was like, oh shit, okay. But I didn't really understand his plan. No, I didn't understand his plan, but his plan just kind of just seemed like it really makes sense to me.
Although I just want to mention one more thing. I just realized this is actually the second Bond in a row with daddy issues.
With daddy issue. Oh,
Bond villain in a row.
Oh, for sure.
True. True.
funny.
But question: Why did he have to change his face to become to portray himself as a successful British?
I mean, let's be
business
honest. If you are the general's son from North Korea, what normal life are you gonna have?
Yeah, but I
Or-
mean, he could have disguised himself without changing himself into a white guy.
Well, so I think the general said it a couple of times that he made a mistake educating him in Europe. That like when he went to school there, it totally like he changed, and all of a sudden he was looking for things that weren't like a part of them. So like he wanted to be a European. I think that like him being educated
Yeah,
abroad,
no, you're right. That makes sense.
it skewed his view of like success and like what like I don't want to say a businessman, but like what a successful man looks like on a global scale, you know?
Yeah.
And he saw that as like European playboy as opposed to Asian general son, you know?
Yeah. No, I guess that makes sense. He was kind of like brainwashed.
Yeah, I think that that was the interpretation that I got when he was talking about like I should never have sent you to Europe, and like when he went to Europe it ruined him and all that crap. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I'll say, yeah, I didn't really understand, that master plan. Like you build this diamond thing up in the sky to then destroy that, the peninsula in between, I guess, South Korea and North Korea. I just seemed like I just didn't really understand why. Like, why go through all that trouble to do that? I feel like there's got to be another way you could have done that.
Seriously.
And when you find out, that's his master plan, it's not really anything that blows you away. It's just like, oh, okay. And I don't know if I felt that Bond was in trouble at any point fighting this guy. Overall, I just didn't think this guy was a very memorable villain, and just seemed kind of silly, and his plan just seemed kind of silly. So I didn't really like this guy that much.
Well, interesting fact, he was kind of modeled after Hugo Drax from the novel Moonraker. Because
makes sense.
yeah, and
Same plan.
that's the part of it that I kind of like about his character. I like the playboy, the European playboy, where he's like trying to be James Bond's equal. So I like that aspect of it, and it's like him and Bond being a rival. That sword fight was pretty good. Yeah, but he doesn't have a great scheme. He doesn't have a great master plan, so it kind of just falls flat.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I think what we were supposed to be like is, oh, he has a weapon that can like a weapon of mass destruction essentially, and we're supposed to be scared of that. And we've seen so many iterations of that already that it's like, okay, cool.
It's hard to be scared of that when Bond surfs a tidal wave caused by that same weapon.
And I'm like, how does this guy build this satellite up in the air like that? I mean, what, nobody notices this guy building this big ass weapon of mass destruction up in space? Like,
I've got to say, right, the part about it that I hated the worst was the diamonds. It's like
Right? Like what?
so stupid. It was like a Goldfinger moment almost, where it's like, really with the diamonds, dude. Just like, oh,
But like as Dave said, it was modeled against the Moonraker
Yeah.
plan, and I mean we saw this in Moonraker.
yeah, and yeah, no, that's rough.
Speaking of diamonds, moving on to the Bond girl of this movie. There was two, Halle Berry and Rosamund Pike. Halle Berry was Jinx. I can't remember the name. Miranda Frost.
Ross. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna start things off. Jinx may be the worst Bond girl for me.
Wow.
Like she is that bad. All right, actually no, she's not that bad. I just remembered.
about to say.
I just remembered Diamonds Are Forever girl and Good Night. So, oh gosh, and the girl from A View to a Kill, she was bad. Well, anyway, Halle Berry not great. I haven't seen her in anything where she was really a killed the role.
No,
Um,
that is very true.
and in this movie, I just felt like her and Pierce Brosnan had no chemistry. It was really cringeworthy. There was a line. Oh no, well, I'm not gonna get into lines yet, but yeah, it just the dialogue between the two of them was so bad, so bad.
It
This-
was.
Even so, they tried because this was supposed to be a celebration movie, so they put a lot of Easter eggs in there, and Ian Fleming named James Bond because it seemed like such an unassuming everyday name, and he named it after a something thologist that studies birds, and that's the line Bond uses on Jinx. He says he's there studying birds, that he's a, and he says that he is that something thologist, and Jinx just says about how, oh, that's a mouthful after looking at his crotch. It's so cringeworthy. It's so bad. And yeah, I mean the best part about Jinx is her introduction, her walking out of the ocean. But other than
Literally,
that,
I
down.
wish it was the only part of it. I wish that, like, I almost wish that she came out of the water and then she just got hit by a bus or something, and then we're like, oh well, cha. That would have been so much better than what we got. It's just,
Yeah, it would have been. But she is the Bond girl. Unfortunately, she's not a good one. Ramon, who's your Bond girl?
I mean, it's Jinx, but as you guys were saying, lackluster Bond girl, definitely. She's not the worst. Definitely not the worst portrayed. She herself was a CIA agent. But yeah, as you were saying, the chemistry wasn't great. There's no great lines between them, even though there are moments where there should have been. Delivery just fell flat every single time.
Yes.
So she's the Bond girl. Reluctantly, she's the Bond girl. Even during the movie, it even doesn't really play on a romantic situation with them. They don't have banter. They don't have anything. It is like the movie itself is like, well, I guess she has to be the Bond girl. And that's how it felt to me. So that's it. That's it. I will say Moneypenny is my Bond girl. Thanks.
Oh, wow, Jesus.
The ending was hilarious. Don't lie, guys.
What happened in the end?
Where she was using the hollow thing that
yeah,
R did,
yeah.
as she was pretending to be she was with Bond at that point in time.
Oh shit! Do not remember that. Fuck. But
that moment had more charisma and character than everything else that happened between Bond and Jinx in this one.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you, Ramon. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jinx is the Bond girl for sure. Yeah, I echo what you guys said. Her delivery of, I mean, they wrote her character, I guess, to deliver like witty one-liners like Bond, and Halle Berry just doesn't nail it. I don't know if that's maybe how they wrote the script or maybe if it's her, but like Ramon said, the delivery is just flat with the lines she delivers. I actually thought they had chemistry when they first met, Bond and Jinx, when she comes out of the water and they're talking by the bar. Even though, as Dave said, there's that corny, cheesy line. I actually thought the exchange between them was pretty smooth, Then after that, it's like, and she has a good action scene in the end, fighting Frost. I think she was fighting Frost, and then she kills her pretty fucking cool, and actually has a really good line though. I think she tells her, "Read this, bitch."
That's not a good line, Chris. I know you want it to be a good line, but that's not a good line, Chris. Awful line.
I don't know.
John, what did you think?
Yeah.
Did you like Jinx?
So I want to like Halle Berry, but this is a classic.
But
like,
why do you want to like Halle Berry?
Because you know why? Because she's gorgeous and and it's funny because I was gonna say and she's pretty, but that's
Oh,
literally
I thought you were gonna say because she's Storm.
right. So yeah, I wanna like her, but you know what? I actually think that in this case it's not a script issue. I think it's a her issue. Because I also think of Storm is actually supposed to be like she's an African god, essentially. She's raised and they worship her like a god, right? And in the comic book, Storm actually has a lot of like really interesting like poetic lines. And when I think of her Storm, I always come back to that like line where it's like, do you know what lightning does to
Oh,
toads?
that is a great line. That is a good one-liner.
The same as anything else, and that's an awful line. That's
yeah.
a
Thank you.
joke.
But she delivers it so good.
Is she? Does
Yes!
she? She does not. That's
She does.
I love
She
it.
does.
I don't know.
I
haven't watched
believe
that
it.
movie since I was young, but man, I always love that line. That's like
that's an awful line. That's why you
but
like that.
it's so
joke,
bad
Dave?
it's good.
You want to know why you like that joke, Dave? Because it's a dad joke. It's a really bad dad joke, and like it's awful. And so at that point when I think about it, it's not the lines. It might be Halle Berry. I wonder if you got like someone like I don't know, who's the girl who plays in Hunger Games?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Like I wonder if someone like Jennifer Lawrence who
Or
knows
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson. But yeah, but like somebody else to deliver those lines if it would look any different. I want to like Halle Berry. And I think there's so much dialogue about her being an amazing actress, and I think she's won awards and stuff like that. But when you really look at it, it's not good, dude. Like
She
it's
doesn't have any really memorable roles. That was funny. I actually can't remember who had that conversation. I had that conversation with I don't want to call the person name, but I had that same conversation with somebody and I was like, yeah, Halle Berry's awesome. What are you talking about? She's a great actress, like won awards and shit. And the person was like, well, okay, what were some of her good movies? And I was like,
I can think of movies that she's been in, but honestly, they're not great movies, or they're not great movies because of Halle Berry.
right.
Bowl, X-Men, and I just feel bad at that point. I just feel bad for her because man, this was not good. Her lines were really bad. They weren't just like, oh, that joke didn't hit. They were just bad.
Delivered.
Good. And what's worse about it is because it's supposed to be like she's supposed to come off as like I don't know if they're trying to do like a sassy black woman thing, but like it was just so cringeworthy. Just like you don't have any lines, he doesn't have any lines. What are we doing here? Just stop.
I mean, for once, it wasn't that. It's funny. Like her character is not even like a character that's defenseless.
Right.
Really needs saving that kind of way. Like her character actually like fights and everything and helps Bond out, but that's still not enough to.
I remember when this movie was coming out, and I remember there being like I don't know if it was like a lot of talk, but there was some talk about how she's gonna be an agent in the movie and she's gonna get a spin-off because like that's gonna be so cool and crap like that.
They
No.
could never have done that. Like if
That would have been another Catwoman.
Hard pass. I do not want to watch that crap. And
That would've been another
you know
Catwoman.
what? The scene, other than her coming out of the water, the scene that like sticks in my head is towards the end where they're like playing with the diamonds, and she's like, "Oh, don't take it out, don't take it out," and he puts it in her belly button. I'm just like, man, they just did not have any chemistry. Like he has a lot of like really final moments of like sailing off into the sunset with a woman, and that one was just bad too. Like they could even save that part.
no, that was not a good send off for Pierce at all.
I-
He deserved better.
I do not think that she is the worst Bond.
No, she's not the worst. No.
Not the worst, but she is definitely lower tier. She is like
Yeah.
she's closer to the bottom than she should be.
And you know what's sad? This is only this. I believe it's only the second black Bond girl, and it's the first main Bond girl that was black, and that is still the case.
Yeah.
Jinx has
fuck?
been the
26
only
movies.
main
26
Bond
movies.
girl that was black.
Well, I would disagree because I would argue Moneypenny was the Bond girl and she was black.
Not the main one. though.
Uh,
Not the main Bond girl. She wasn't the main one.
yeah,
No,
in
it's not Holly
Skyfall, I would argue M was the main Bond girl. But anyway,
Oh.
we haven't got to those movies yet, so jumping ahead. But yeah, it's still kind of sad. 20 movies in.
26. Are we at 26?
No, well then now we're at 25. But I mean, up to this point, we're 20 movies in.
Well, I mean, not to thing, but I know that we had a lot of debate over this, but I still think, what was her name? From Grace Jones.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
But she was a femme fatale. She wasn't a Bond.
I know. I think that we argued this, and I argued like Grace Jones.
I think I agreed with you on that one too.
Grace Jones was like the Bond girl for me, and she wasn't like the main one, obviously, because she was a femme fatale or whatever. But
She was the one that stood out.
when I think about black women in Bond movies, straight, I go to Grace Jones, and honestly, that's a good place to be because she did such
Yeah.
amazing performance.
She did that real well.
Such an amazing.
Yeah. She was like really menacing. Like that.
Okay, I'm not gonna touch that one.
Yeah.
So
Side note, you know what I really want though? I want a James Bond movie, and I don't remember her name, but the woman from How to Get Away with Murder. I want her to be the bad guy.
Viola Davis.
Viola
Oh.
Davis. I want Viola Davis to be the bad guy in a James Bond movie and just fuck his shit up. I just want her to just mess with his life on several levels. I think that she would do a fantastic job. I think I'm going to start a petition. Viola Davis needs to be the next James Bond villain.
I would love to see that.
I can see
You know
that.
what? You know why? Because she could be like an M figure, because she pretty much does that in like the DC universe, where she's like in the DC universe where she's, I can't remember the name of that character, but I hate her. But she like is the organizer, you know, and she could be like an M character, and she could just fuck his shit up. That would be so good.
Amanda Waller, right?
Amanda Waller, yeah, that one was a bitch.
Yeah. She's no nonsense.
Yeah. Anyhow, carry on, Dave.
Yeah, I'm moving on to the Bond lines. Chris, what was your favorite line in this movie?
So my favorite line was let's see. So it was where they were at the Ice Palace, and Bond is talking to Frost. And where is it? Oh my god. Can't find what I'm looking for. Somebody else go, and I will come back. You can come back to me.
Okay, John, what about you?
Just lost it. Shit.
My favorite line, unfortunately, is in the beginning of the movie. I gotta say, like the beginning, they peaked very early on.
They really did.
Where the hovercraft is going, and then he's like ringing the bell, and then he like jumps down and he's like saved by the bell. That just goes to show you how many
Oh,
lines there were in this movie. That is my favorite line. I've got another one as well, but like that was that I think that out of all of them, that made me laugh the most. And that was not a good line either.
Save another bell. Ah, I know mine. All right. So he's talking to Frost. I guess they're at the Ice Palace. You know, Frost has kind of been like resisting him at this point. Like, you know, me and you are never gonna happen, Bond. And so she's like, all right, we're at the palace. I'll show you to your room. And Bond is like, a palace of ice. You must feel right at home.
actually, I
That
would go with that.
yeah,
I'm gonna second that, Dave.
that-
Chris.
that wasn't a bad one. In the grand scheme of things, this movie had some terrible lines.
It,
It did, but yeah, I think that one stood out the most for me. I remember laughing at that one for sure.
That was a decent one. That was a decent line.
What was
So-
yours?
I'll give a dishonorable one because this one was so bad. Where he's talking to Madonna and says, "I've been known to keep my tip up,"
Oh Jesus!
and he pulls his sword up. And the thing is, in the
Yeah,
hands of
no,
Roger
that one.
Moore,
That one. That one.
in the hands of Roger Moore, that might have actually Roger Moore could have pulled that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Roger Moore's not in this movie, so it did not get pulled off. at
He
all.
sure isn't. Did you think that Pierce Brosnan, like when he was like getting like almost the end of filming it, he was like, "This is not going to be a good movie, is it?" Like he was just like, "This is going to be rough." Do you think
If you watch like the special features and he's talking about the scene where he's kite surfing, like he's laughing. He's laughing, and I just
good. That renews my faith in Pierce Brosnan. Like
Yeah.
he knew. I mean, like obviously he has no control at this point, but like he knew. He fucking knew.
I mean, you know, watching over that scene, you know, that kite surfing, it was ridiculous. I guess it wasn't as ridiculous as I remember it being, but it was.
Right? I was watching it during the movie and I was saying, well, it's the worst scene in James Bond history. Like, it's not that bad. It fits.
I'll
Like,
tell you
get
what.
it.
It's the worst scene in James Bond history that they've played the James Bond theme to, where they're
Right.
like, "Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun."
Okay.
They saved that for like really good moments.
Yeah.
That has to be the worst time that song's ever played.
Yeah.
But I mean, y'all are talking about the beginning when he's surfing the wave, right?
No, the tsunami, the
Yeah, the
ice
tsunami.
tsunami.
You're right. Yeah, no, rough. Just
Jump the shark there.
whew,
The surfing at the beginning was fine because that was actually done. That was for real.
right.
One of the
And-
few things in this movie that was actually done by stuntmen.
But you know what? That's the other thing about it. They shouldn't have done it twice. They shouldn't have done it something like that. Oh,
I think they were trying to set it up so that we would.
Believe it when it happened, even though it looks
Yeah.
so unbelievable.
I think, and that's why it's so bad. It's like they tried to set it up where it's like, oh look, Bond is used to riding these huge waves, so when a laser creates a tsunami, obviously he's gonna be fine. He'll just surf it.
nope.
It makes sense.
That was dumb. Dumb.
Again, though, it wasn't great. It wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I think your definition of terrible. and
It
my
was
definition-
terrible. I guess it wasn't as terrible as I remember. And
Right.
probably the worst.
I'll give you that. It wasn't as terrible as I remember it because I think I built it up as such a like a cringe-worthy moment
Yeah.
that actually seeing it I was like, oh, it's not so bad. It's
Yeah,
like getting an injection, right? It's like you
Yeah.
build it up in your head, then you get the injection, and you're like, oh, it's not so bad. Still
Right.
not good, but
Not-
not as bad.
All right, so to wrap things up, who wants to start with final thoughts and ranking?
I'll go.
Yeah.
This movie is not as horrible as I thought it was going to be. I'll give it that. It's not as horrible. And I think, Chris, you mentioned this, not while we were videotaping, but like in passing. The first part of this movie is actually not that bad. It's pretty good. It starts off
An
on a
espionage movie.
yeah, it starts off on a good note. They just like nosedive hard. And you know what's the worst part? I actually blame Halle Berry for that. after Halle Berry is like she gets on screen and she's been there for about 10, 15 minutes, then it just goes downhill real fast.
Yeah.
It's rough. And it does have little moments because I really do that sword fight. I know it's really choreographed and all that stuff, but I really enjoyed that sword fight. It's like just how they go from like small swords to medium swords to large, like massive swords. Like it's cool. And how they're just like destroying the place. I love to see shit like that. And I think there was another scene like that that was kind of similar. We've seen that before. But this was really entertaining because Gustav Graves was just so into it and he wanted to beat Bond so bad at his own game. It just wasn't happening for him. I will give this movie a 3.
Hey, okay.
Okay.
I'll give this movie a 3. It's
Ramon,
not.
what? Yeah, sorry. Continue, John.
No, I was gonna say I can't remember what's the lowest I've given any movie. I think it might have been a 2. But there are parts in this movie that are like okay. That and it's sad, but the opening credits, like I really love that opening credits. Like I forgot how strong that opening is. It's kind of disappointing, but yeah. Anyway, Ramon?
Here's my thing. I agree with you, but unfortunately, if you're gonna rank it objectively, in my opinion, like this movie, I did not dislike it over half the time, and even at the end, like it didn't nosedive to the point where I'm like,
Right.
I feel slighted watching this movie. Like I didn't feel that way as opposed to some of the others that I've watched. So I think I might give it like a 5 or a 4.
I think a
Just
5
because, yeah, like I did enjoy the opening. I did enjoy the scene in when they were busting out to the when Bond was going in and he found Zhao for the first time
Right.
on the machine. Like I did enjoy Gustav himself. So in theory, it's a 5, maybe 4, 4.5, 5 for me. Like
Five.
I didn't feel slighted by the movie. It was enjoyable. I didn't hate it.
What about you,
Yeah.
Chris?
I'm gonna give this one a 4. Not really that much memorable action scenes in this, except maybe the beginning, the hovercrafts. After that, the sword fight was cool, but honestly, after the beginning action scene, there's really not much memorable action. There's not really many pretty locations in this movie, which is fine, I guess, but
You didn't think the ice palace was pretty?
yeah, I guess that looked nice. I don't know.
You can say no.
But, I don't know. I guess the ice palace was fine, but outside of the palace itself, I mean, it wasn't really much. It wasn't really a very pretty looking movie. I don't know.
Right.
Pierce in this one, I couldn't tell if he was like phoning this one in as Bond or what. Like it seemed to me like he was still kind of enjoying the role. But I don't know, him as Bond in this one, I thought he was I thought he was as good as he's ever been so far in the movies. Like, he kind of kept up, how good he was in the third one. He kind of kept with it. He didn't wasn't any worse, but it was just like there wasn't any evolution to his character in this movie.
Right.
He was just kind of okay in the movie as Bond. And the story, I just didn't really get, the villain's plan, his master plan. I just thought it was a bit much. And when you finally find out what it is, it's like, oh, what? So I give this a 4. Oh, and the CGI was absolute shit in this movie. Too much CGI too. And that was another problem with the action scenes. And so I give this a 4.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this a 4 too. I agree with you, Chris. It was CGI was terrible. The director basically thought that CGI was the future, so that most action scenes you'd have like maybe 10% real and 90% special effects. That has proven not to be the case, thank the Lord.
Actually, hold on. I would say
No.
it is the case, but you lean too far into it. And
Right.
like if you
So-
you need to know that technology gets better, and if you're gonna do CG, it's not
But,
gonna hold up.
but it depends. If you're comparing it to like, obviously, if you're gonna compare it to a Marvel movie where there's superheroes going
Oh,
through
superheroes.
space,
Yeah.
obviously there's gonna be visual and special effects. But anytime something is physically there and is actually done, it always has more of an impact. Like even some of the Fast and Furious movies, I found out recently because I don't really watch those anymore. But I did watch Fast Five, and there's a scene where they're dragging a safe behind a car. That
Yeah, they did
was
do that in real life.
actually done.
Yeah, they did do that.
That's insane. It always looks better if it's done for real. Obviously, you can't do some things for real, but I always love physical special effects versus digital special effects.
That's how
Um,
Bond has always been.
Exactly.
So
So I
that's
mean,
what's
the stunts in the like when we were in the Roger Moore movies, the stunts that were being done, those were all actual people doing it. So it's like people were literally on the edge of their seats.
Again, the
Never-
crocodile one. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I do agree with Ramon. He was right. CGI is the future. The problem is that if it's the future, use it sparingly, you know, especially if it's not today. Use it sparingly. One and two, you gotta know what the strength of your franchise is. The strength of James Bond's franchise is the cool stunts that they do, the stuff that they make possible that just seems unreal. When you move away from that, when you move away from what makes your franchise great, you're playing with fire, dude.
Yeah. So that was bad. Bond girl was bad. Bond villain wasn't great. I liked that they went to Cuba, but they really didn't do too much in Cuba.
They did not.
So yeah, honestly, it's not a great movie. I actually think it's probably my least favorite of the main Bonds. So
Oh,
yeah,
putting
I'm
it
giving it.
Lower. I feel like if it should be lower, like all the things that you.
Well, I still watched it more than once. I'd still watch it again if I was watching all the Bond movies.
I
If
wouldn't watch
you're
it.
watching all the Bond movies, but if this movie was on HBO, would you be like, okay, yeah, I could watch that,
No.
or you like move on?
Yeah, maybe I have to lower it, but I don't know. Like I'd have to lower Diamonds Are Forever and A View to a Kill too. I feel it is better than Never Say Never Again. I will say that. But so yeah, the average rating based off that is 4 out of 10 for all of us, which seems pretty. Obviously, I don't have the list, so I can't tell you if that's the lowest rating we've given. But
Wait, how's
feel
it
like
4
it
out of
is.
10? How's it 4 out of 10? I gave it 2. You gave it 4.
Oh, I
give it a
thought you
5,
gave it
but
a 3. I thought you gave it a 3.
Oh, you give
as
it a 2.
I gave it a 3. You're right. I gave it a 3. And the rest of you gave it 4?
Ramon gave
Actually,
it a 5.
I'm gonna adjust to 4 as well.
Yeah, I thought he gave it a 4. My bad.
Yeah, I was saying 4, 4.5. I'll adjust to 4.5 afterwards, but
This is a subpar movie, guys. Like, it's not
Yeah.
even subpar. This is
I don't
bad.
know. Worse than Diamonds?
And
I would say not because Diamonds still has the era, still has like I don't know. Diamonds is just kind of trashy.
it is trashy. So Chris, we're probably not gonna do the ranking of Bonds and Mont because you don't have your computer, right, Dave?
Yeah, I think we just jumped to Casino, and then once I
Right.
get my computer back, we can do the ranking.
Well, we're gonna do a ranking at some point. But what I will say is I actually think that Pierce did the best that he could do. I actually don't blame him for this movie being bad. I blame a lot of other things. I
agree. This is the one time I could say the actor was definitely not responsible for this.
the actor was not the problem here. I blame Halle Berry. I blame that CGI. I blame kind of the script as well because at some point they've got to be like, "Yo, guys, this is just bad. This does not make sense."
Well, here's the thing: was the script bad or were the deliveries bad?
Right. That's a good question.
No, man. Because look at the dialogue. If the dialogue was written bad,
No,
I
but I
mean,
blame Jinx for the majority of that dialogue being awful.
no, but
Any other
yes,
character,
the
it would have
delivery.
landed.
Mm,
Or with a better casting, like a fair bit of it
think
would have
about
landed.
some of the lines. Some of the lines had nothing to do with the delivery. There's just no way to deliver that line in a good way. How are you gonna deliver a line about something colleges? Wow, that's a mouthful. Or your mama. How are you
Oh,
gonna
God.
how many different ways can you deliver your mama? Like seriously.
That was rough.
I mean I agree Halle Berry wasn't great, but I can't even blame her
You know
for
what?
some of
You know
the
what?
issues this movie has.
You're Dave. You've got a good point. It's not. I do think Halle Berry owns some of the responsibility, but she also, yeah, yo mama, like that's rough.
I mean, you have. I mean, I've seen like another line where, wow, where Bond is like, I've missed your sparkling personality. He's saying that to Zhao, and Zhao punches Bond in the stomach and says, "How's that for a punchline?"
Yeah.
Hey, that's a
That's
good one
actually a
though.
really good
I
one too.
like that one.
What? God, no.
But that's okay. Yes, but rough.
And then let's see, the ones between Jinx and Bond we established terrible, but there's some other ones in the movie that were, it worked for me. Like,
Well, that's fine. But yeah, I actually don't blame Pierce for this movie, and now I can say that Pierce is definitely one of my favorite Bonds. Like he's up there
Mm,
for me.
um,
I really enjoyed the last two movies. All right, so
I don't know.
I'm glad.
Where to put him.
For me, this movie once again reaffirms that the last movies, I mean, because I won't count Timothy Dalton, he only had two, so
And both
the
of them
main
are bad.
Bond actors, but have always ended on a low note. Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan. So as hyped as I am for No Time to Die, there's part of me just saying it's gonna
strange.
suck
The James
because
First, dude. That's the James
there's
Bond.
no way they end on a high. It's never happened before.
Also,
So
the fact that they have not released it yet tells me something. Like I know there's a lot going on in the world, but the fact that they still haven't released it, I'm scared for all the movies that they're like holding back, holding back, holding back. Because anytime you do that shit, I know that there's something up.
oh yeah, it's not stand the test of time. People aren't gonna watch it.
and
Right.
plus it had production issues before. Like the first time it was delayed had nothing to do with COVID.
Right. That's
So-
rough. That's you know what? We should definitely prepare ourselves for a stinker of a movie.
Nah, I don't think so. I'm confident. This one will be decent.
You want to slap bet on that?
No. You're really fucking
You're
hard.
not that confident, are you? All right, cool.
No.
Just as long as we've
You're
established.
gonna, like smack the shit out of me, like Jesus.
I will, but as long as you know that I'm going to slap the shit out of you, because I'm going to be right.
Nah, this movie's gonna be okay. It's gotta be better than Spectre. Gotta
Here's
be.
my thing. I think
don't mind
this
Spectre.
might be subpar, just like this one.
I didn't mind Spectre. I thought Spectre was. I mean, it's not the best movie ever, but it's all right.
Spectre had problems, but it's not as low as like Die Another Day, A View to a Kill, Diamonds Are Forever, or any of those.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. So
I am too. But by the way, John, just remember it's also the longest Bond movie.
yeah,
So
but
look forward to that.
so I've got to.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I've got to admit, I don't mind the new James Bond movies that are long. I don't really mind them as much.
Yeah, for some reason, yeah, it's not that bad.
Once again, they've had time to work out the formula, and this James Bond formula that they're working with,
Right.
it fills the time well.
Right. It's
Yeah.
true.
I agree.
I'm looking forward to watching the new ones again. I'm gonna enjoy these. I'm really looking forward to watching more of Casino Royale.
See, it's funny because Daniel Craig, 4 of his movies, if I'm counting No Time to Die, are the 4 longest James Bond movies, and then Quantum of Solace is the shortest.
Oh,
Good, and
So,
rightfully so.
Interesting.
I like Quantum of Solace. I like the Daniel Craig movies.
God no.
I'm about to shit on your life, Joan.
Good dude.
Anyway, speaking of Daniel Craig, next time we're going to be talking about Casino
It's
Royale
Daniel Craig.
and getting into some good stuff. So until next time, see you guys.
Signing out.